Hey everybody, it's Peter from Brantford Kia, and today we're going to continue our series on the 2019 Kia Forte by talking about Android Auto. Now, why are we doing this? Because every 2019 Kia Forte comes standard with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and heated seats and heated steering wheel and lane keeping assists and all sorts of other stuff. But specifically, we're going to talk about Android Auto because I have an Android phone. We're going to do an Apple CarPlay one a little bit later. But yeah, Android Auto. First of all, what do you need? You need a cord. So we recommend the manufacturer's cord. I've just got mine coiled up here nicely just because that makes it easier for my video. And you need a modern Android phone. I'm doing this on a Pixel 2. You can do it on any one you want. And you also need this app right there. So if you can sort of see it there, Android Auto in the middle. You can go to your Play Store. It says Android Auto. It looks like that sort of V type thing, maybe a paper airplane, I don't know. It's, yeah. It's Android Auto. So that's what you need. Download that from the Play Store and then follow along. We'll show you what it can do, how to set it up, and how it works. So let's go inside the car. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you get in the car is once the car is on, you want to plug this cord. So you've got your USB cord, and I've got, in my case, it's USB-C into my phone. You want to plug the cord into the USB port that is here. So you've got the gear shifter, you've got a USB port down here. It's not the one that's covered by the doors, and it's below your wireless charging port. If you have a phone that wirelessly charges, you have to use your cord still. It's just the way Android Auto works at this point. You have to use your cord. Once you plug in your phone, we'll switch to the screen up here and you'll see what you get. So let's take a look. All right, so for the purpose of this demonstration, I've got the car running. Now, you only need to turn it to on, but again, sometimes it'll give you a battery discharge warning in our cars. So I'm gonna turn the car fully on, it's all fully running and started. And what I'm gonna do is plug the phone in, and my phone currently is unlocked, or sorry, it's locked. Whoops, I just activated my Google Assistant there. So it's locked. You'll see it says reading USB, and in this case, Android Auto popped right up. Now, if it doesn't, you may have to tap on your phone to activate it for the first time. A couple things to know. If you've never paired your phone to Bluetooth, once you connect it to Android Auto, it's also paired to Bluetooth, which means I can unplug my phone, run to the store, just leave my phone out, put it in the charging tray below here, and I'll still have things like streaming Bluetooth audio, Bluetooth calling, those kinds of things. This is specifically Android Auto, and again, people ask me, does the phone have to be plugged in? On October 3rd, 2018, which is when I'm filming this, yes, the phone has to be plugged in. If that changes, then you'll probably find out somewhere else, but at the time of filming, it has to be plugged in. So let's go through Android Auto. So again, you'll see that little icon show up right here. We're gonna tap it. There you go, Android Auto. Now I've got a few things up and running here, depending on what you've done. I've kind of set it up for this video. I've currently got a navigation that's gonna take me to a grocery store. We can cancel that, and we will. This is an audio book. So again, I can play audio files. Here's the weather here. If I had a calendar appointment or something like that, it might show here as well. So this is Google predicting what you may want to do based on what you have done. Again, and I've sort of preset this up. You may not see any of these. We're going to cancel that one. Oh, we can't cancel that because we have to go to Maps. We'll do that in a second. But to swipe some of these, to get rid of them, you can do that. So let me just go to Maps. We're going to cancel the navigation because I don't want to go there. And we'll show you how that works in a little bit. And we're going to get rid of the audiobook. So again, back to different cards than we saw before. One of the things I looked at before was a no frills. It's about 10 minutes away. And it also assumes that when I get in the car, I may want to go home. Now, as you can see, I live 6 minutes away. I'm not going to tap that one because I don't want everybody to know where I live. But you can swipe these things away. And now you can see that's sort of the standard home screen. Usually the home screen will have some of those cards, and they're really useful because you can set reminders, you can do all kinds of things. Like I said, especially if you use your Google Calendar, you'll see a lot of things show up in here. And if you have a Google Calendar appointment where you have the destination there, let's say I have to be somewhere, what time is it now? 10:52, of course, right in the center screen. Let's say I had to be somewhere at 11:15 and I had a calendar appointment. It would know that if I'm getting in the car now, I'm probably going to that appointment. And it would give me the option, if I had in my calendar the address, it would give the option to navigate there. So this is a lot more than just navigation. I'm going to touch on that in a second, but we're going to start with just the screen. We're going to work our way over to navigation. So let's start with this button down here. First of all, the home screen, this is where we are. That's what that circle button is there. If you wanted to go back to Kia's homepage, you click that and we go return to Kia. This is Kia's homepage. You can access your radio, everything else like there. But for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to stay in Android Auto. All right, so that takes you home, takes you out of here to Kia's system. This one here is my audio option. So as you can see, we have a book. This is Audible. I have a book that we're reading for work here. There's a number of things you can do, but let's say I don't want to listen to Audible, I want to do some other options. Whoops, there we go. You can see I can do Audible, I can do Google Play Books, Google Play Music, Scanner Radio, SiriusXM, Spotify. Your phone may have more, it may have less. One thing to remember, especially in Canada where we don't have massive data plans on our phone, if you are using some of these apps to stream music, you will be using your data plan. Now, if they're just, for instance, if Spotify information is just on your phone, that's fine. But that's where you can get into trouble with data usage, is some of these streaming music and streaming other things. In this case, the Audible book I have is downloaded, so I could play these things without using any data at all. But there's some of my music options, and as you can see, any app that's added that is capable with Android Auto can be on here. And I have several. You may have less, you may have more. But you can just choose, and whatever you tend to do will pop up and be the priority. Most recently, I've been listening to an audiobook while I'm driving, so there is that. All right. Going back to the home screen again, there it is there. Let's go to my phone. So my phone, you can see I've called my dad recently, I've called work, I've called my brother. So yes, my dad's name is Rob Lowe. He is not the movie star, but sometimes we tell people he is. And I could scroll down and show you a number of other people, but we're not going to do that right now. In your phone, you'd have options on all of the, really those screens, and music options as well. You'll have options up here. So I'm going to tap that. You can see I can call my voicemail, dial a number, search my contacts, my call history. I'm not going to do that because I'm using my personal phone and I'd like to keep my contacts off of the internet, but you can see there's lots of options for the phone there. And the big thing is this is all voice controlled as well. We'll show you that in a minute. We'll show you some of those cool features in a second. So that's your phone system. You can see there's lots of people there. Grant Johnson's there. He's one of our salespeople. You can scroll down. You can get to your dialer right there if you just want to dial there. Most people dial by name. So how does the dialer work? If you put the person in your phone, like for instance, Brantford Kia is in my phone, it will show up here. So I don't have to dial our phone number. I can just say call Brantford Kia. I can use this screen here, or there's a steering wheel button, which I'm showing you right here on the screen. That steering wheel button can be pressed. It's the same thing when I have Android Auto up as pressing this button on the top of my screen. So that steering wheel button with the face and the kind of voice. For the purpose of this video, I'll probably always use this, but anytime I use that, I could also use the steering wheel button. And again, just because I'm focusing on the screen, it's easier to show you what I've done. There's your phone. Let's go to navigation. Now you can see navigation. I recently looked up Walker's No Frills. It was on there. Now there's a number of ways that these things could show up. Again, the home screen that I had that card for the no frills. Let's say I'm logged into my Chrome account or my Google account on Chrome on my work computer in the browser, and I've gone to Google Maps and looked up Walker's No Frills. It will be there on my screen because I've looked it up in my Google account. So I could use my tablet outside of the car, I could use my phone, I could use my computer. As long as I'm logged into my Google account, if I've looked something up in Google Maps recently, it will predict and maybe here, or it'll be on your home screen in one of those cards. So this is all pretty cool. And the reason I'm doing grocery stores is because, well, let's just show you what we can do. It's not just about navigation. Show me grocery stores in the area.
Showing results.
So it's showing results for the grocery stores in the area. Now this is what's cool for me. If you go to a new town, let's say you want to find a coffee shop in the area, well, you can see there's several grocery stores near me, or it could be a coffee shop, could be any business. What you also see, and this is the big thing with Android Auto, is you see the Google review. Now this is a 4.6 star for La Cocos, which is nearby, 4.3 stars, which is goodness me. A number of these are, all of these have a Google star rating. So you can see, let's say you went to a new town and there was two coffee shops side by side. One had a 2-star Google review rating and one had a 5-star. You probably know where you're going to go. And this is up-to-date information. This is current as on Google today. So that gives you an accurate depiction of where you're headed. And I think that's really useful. So we're going to choose one that's far away. Let's choose a different one. Last time we chose Walker's No Frills. Let's go to Metro, 4-star review. So here's the thing that I love about Metro, or about whatever you do. This Metro is open 24 hours, which I didn't know. That's good for me to know because that's not too far from where I live. It's open 24 hours. I can call them by tapping that button, or I can navigate there by going that. Now, because I haven't chosen it yet, let's go back and choose something else. Let's try M&M's. I love M&M's. They're only open until 8 o'clock. Again, super useful information. It's all from Google and it's up to date. And there's 7 minutes to get there. And you can see there's a variety of ways to get there. And you can see there's some orange or yellowy lines there. That tells you that traffic is slower. And you can see some red lines on the map that tells you where traffic is quite slow. So what you'll find, and this is where the navigation makes a difference, I may know how to get to my local grocery store, but if I use Android Auto regularly, it may take me a different way sometimes because it has real up-to-date traffic information. So that's super useful. And the other thing that I think is cool is, again, just like the music apps, if you want to use something different than Google Maps, you can see I have Waze. Now, I don't use Waze a ton. I live pretty close to work. It doesn't have a huge value to me. But you can use other navigation apps that work in that system. And you'll see on your phone if they have them, or you can check if they're available for Android Auto. So again, you have options, and I love that. So let's do something else that's kind of cool that people don't know that you can do. Let's just go back to our home screen. Let's first of all send a text message to Grant Johnson. Send a text message to Grant Johnson.
Text Grant Johnson. Okay. What's the message?
Hey Grant, I'm just doing a video still with Android Auto. Could you send me a text message back, please?
Here's your text to Grant Johnson. Hey Grant, I just doing a video still with Android Auto. Could you send me a text message back, please? Do you want to send it or change it?
Send it.
Okay. Message sent.
So that's as simple as that. And you can see that it gives you a lot of audible feedback. So while we're waiting for Grant, we'll talk a little bit about what that does. If you want to put punctuation there, you can see how it reads it back to you. It's not the best. If you want to be more professional in your messages, you could say, hey Grant, comma, how are you, comma, or question mark, whatever you want. It will not write the word comma or the word question mark. It will actually put the punctuation in for you. So if you are someone who's, a stickler for your grammar, or you're talking to someone who you want to be accurate with your grammar, maybe a new boss or something like that, you can say those words, the punctuation, period, comma, question mark, those kinds of things. It will put it in the statement for you. And of course, you'll hear it better when you read it back. Now, I know Grant and I don't use a ton of punctuation, so when he sends me a message back, it may play a little bit funny. He may be with a customer as well, so we'll see if that comes back. But there's a couple other things you can do, and while we're waiting for Grant's text message back, let's set ourselves a reminder. So again, I could hit the steering wheel button, but I'm going to hit this one. At 2 o'clock today, remind me to tell Grant that he's just wonderful.
All right. I'll remind you at 2 p.m.
So you can see how simple that is to set yourself a reminder. Now, I may not be in the car at 2 p.m., but my phone will be with you. So what I've done is I've told my car to tell my phone to remind me to do something at 2 p.m. Now, that's useful at 2 p.m. Here's what else I like. Let's set another reminder. It has location-based reminders. So I have my work, my home. You can have anything in there that you want. So let's do this. When I get home, remind me to take the garbage out.
All right. I'll remind you when you get home.
So that's where it's super useful. If I leave work on, let's say, a Saturday, and you can see my reminders are up here, but if I leave work on a Saturday, and I want to remind myself to do something when I get back to work on a Monday, I can remind myself to do something. So, when I get back to work on Monday, talk to my boss, I can do that, and it won't come up on my phone at all until I arrive at work. Now you can see my location-based reminder showing up on my home screen. So is my audiobook, because it says it's predicting I may want to use that. We're waiting for Grant's text message. It may not come in because he may be with a customer. And if he is with a customer, that's fine. What it'll do is it'll show up right here. It'll have a play button, or it'll have a response button. Where you can choose to, if you hit a response button, it can send an auto response that says, I'm driving right now, I'll text you later, or I can play the message. So through the magic of video, we're going to pause it right now, wait for his message. All right, so we just got a message from Grant back in. Now you can see we have a couple options here. We can play the message by tapping anywhere on this bar here, or I could respond with a predefined response. Now this one says I'm not driving, or I'm driving right now, and then he would know that I'm driving. But let's play the message.
Grant Johnson says, I sure can, Peter Lowe of Brantford Kia. Do you want to reply?
No.
Loud and clear.
So of course that's Grant making fun of me. He says, I sure can, Peter of Brantford Kia, because that's of course how I introduce my videos. So you can see my home screen is filling up with messages here. I can do all kinds of things with that. But that's how it works. And I love that you can set location reminders, you can set time reminders, you can do all kinds of things. That's the basics of Android Auto. I think it works great. And the thing I love is when your car is 10 years old, this is still 100% up to date. It updates like every other phone on your app, app on your phone. So if you get a new phone with new features, it may be here. If Android Auto ups their features on Android Auto, or just your Android platform has new options, they can be moved across to here. So even though the car system, when the car is 10 years old, will be 10 years old, the software on Android Auto is literally up to date as most recently as your most recent app update. So it's a fantastic system. I think it works great, and it's standard on every 2019 Kia Forte. If you have questions, let me know in the comments below. We'll try to do some other videos. Yeah, I hope that makes some sense to you. We'll talk to you soon.